Okay, so here's the PowerPoint on pitch, and we'll deconstruct some of the musical concepts found in the element of pitch. So when we think of pitch, we've got three overarching concepts. We've got melody, harmony, and tonality. So pitch scientifically is how fast or slow the air vibrates between the sound source, so the instrument or the voice, and the ear, the sound receiver. Though technically it's fast and slow, we think in terms of faster pitches being higher and slow pitches being lower. Melody is our horizontal thinking of pitch. So when we follow a score and follow it through, and it's normally what we sing. Melodies may not always really be beautiful or be tuneful in more modern music. Harmony is the vertical thinking of pitch. So when we stack notes up on the board and we look at the chords, and that's what we call harmony, when everything works as one at the same time. Tonality comes with these two all the time, and it is generally our major or minor feeling, and I refer to that as the brightness or the darkness of the scale or the composition. So we've got intervals, just a brief reminder that they measure the distance between notes. And the reason we use intervals and major seconds, perfect fifths, all of these things, is because it allows us to measure between different instruments, even though they're different sizes. The piano is a great visual representation of intervals. So is a guitar string. You can see it doesn't skip any notes. And they all live on the staff. We need to get really fluent at reading intervals off the staff. Seconds and thirds, sixths and sevenths come in major and minor. They also come in diminished and augmented, but we rarely see them. Firsts, fourths, fifths, and eighths come in perfect, diminished, and augmented styles, mainly in perfect. The easiest way to tell if an interval is a first or a second is to have a look at the letter name or the solfa. If you're going from let's say C to D, because we're changing letter name and we're only changing by one in the alphabet or one in the sequence, so that could be do to re, it's a second. If we were going from C to C sharp, we're still saying, or do to D, we're still staying with the name of C, and so it's actually a first. So we just count in order how many names change in solfa or in letter names. So scales, let's quickly go through this. Scales are basically an organizational device for how bright or dark or how different combinations of notes feel and sound. We've got our basic diatonic scales. You can see here I've placed the minor seconds. A reminder that minor seconds skip nothing on the piano. So if we're on E flat and we go up a minor second, we go to E. Or well, technically it's F flat, but let's leave that alone. Or we go E to F as a minor second. Major seconds, the rest of the notes here are major seconds except for the harmonic minor, and we'll get to that when we get to that. So do to re is a major second, you skip one note. Do, re, si to D. Re, mi is a major second, so we go E to D, D to E, mi, fa minor second, E to F, and so on. Fa, sol, sol, la, ti, do. We can do this for all of our diatonic scales and all of our modes. Remember, these are just ways of organizing scales onto into bright and dark and give it a name so we can come back to it when we want to describe something in a similar way. Let's quickly look at harmonic minor. Here's a C. Let's call it la. La T is a major second. Ti do is a minor second, so we go up to E flat. Do re is a major second. Re mi is a major second. Mi fa is a major minor second, so we get to A flat. Here's our tricky one. Fa na mi fa fa si is actually an augmented second. Let's follow this. I'm on A flat with a fa. La fa fi si, la. So we'd actually go fa, fi, so. That would be a major second, fa to so. We have something bigger than it, but it's still going to so to si. We're still using the initial S syllable on that solfa, fa, si, and we're missing 2 notes, so it's an augmented second. La, si, fa, mi, re, do, ti, la. As I said in class, all of these are really great to practice on an instrument and sing along, sing in canon, but see if you can practice it from the same bottom note. So if everything is C, and then you really get a sense for the different feelings and characters of these modes. Let's have a look at some melodies now and see how we can analyze these. We know this key signature rule that the last sharp is T. So the last sharp here is F sharp. We need to find Do or La to figure out if it's in major or minor. So F sharp going up. That's a T, Do. We could be in G major because we just go up to the next one. Do, Ti, or Ti, La. Then we could have a look. So we could either be in G major or E minor. We have a look at the ending note, it ends in E. That's a bit weird. The next easiest thing is to have a sing. Do, do, ti, ti, la, si. Do, do, ti, ti, la, mi. Do, do, mi, mi, la, so, fa, fa, mi, mi, re, do. Ti, ti, la, la, si. Fa, mi, mi, re, do, ti. La, la, si, mi, do, ti. La, la, si, mi, re. So it really feels like a minor key, and it feels like that A is unfinished. Mi, re, do, ti, la. E feels finished. And then we might go, why does it finish on the A? Oh, look at the thing. Shall I leave tomorrow? Shall I leave tomorrow? The phrase feels unfinished because it doesn't finish on the E or the tonic note. Therefore, we can start analyzing this immediately. Let's have a look at another one. We have 4 sharps. Doesn't matter how many sharps we have, we still just need to look at the last sharp. Our last sharp is a D sharp. That's a D sharp. Let's go T, Do would be D sharp, E going through the alphabet, or T, La, D sharp, C sharp, and I say C sharp because there's a C sharp in the key signature. So it could either be C sharp minor or E major. Let's have a look at our last note, or it's an E. Is there much emphasis on a C sharp? There's only one. So I think we're definitely an E sharp major. The next best way is to sing it. Do, do, so, do, di, la, so, do, do, re, mi, fa, fa, so, do, di, la, so, do, so, fa, mi, re, do. Once again, the major melody has this lighter mood, and compared to our last minor one. Key signatures don't change their rules. They don't. 4 sharps always means E major or C sharp minor. Using that last sharp as T rule or the last flat as Fa will get you all the way. You just need to slowly count and work it out. Okay, so hi girls. Here's a continuation, and so then today we're going to look at actually writing out chords. This is thirds harmony we're looking at, or some people call it tertian. Tertian just meaning 3s. We're going to look at the major scale. Before we go into it, we need to write out our scale, and we need to understand the different types of thirds so we can use this information down here. So let's start on a nice key. Let's start on A. So you normally sing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. We need to know our thirds in major. Simplest way is to look for the minor seconds. Wherever there is a minor second within the third, it is a minor third. If there's no minor second, it's a major third. Let's look at do, re, mi. Do to mi doesn't have any minor seconds because do to re is a major second and re to mi is a major second. Do mi is a major third. Re fa mi fa mi re. There's a minor second between fa and mi. Even though re to mi is a major second, fa mi is a minor second, so re fa is a minor third, and that rule can continue on. The easiest way to remember this is that rule, or you can remember do, fa, so are our major based chords and major thirds in the major key. So do, mi, major third, fa, la, major third, so, ti, major third. The rest are minor thirds. Once we do that, we can stack it in thirds, and this will help us later. So if we, go to the next one, here we go. We have 2/3, and this is where we start looking at triads. So we've got do, mi, so, mi, do. It's a major chord because do to mi is the bottom interval and it's a major third. Mi, so is a minor third. So for a major chord, we have a major third. Mi and mi, so is a minor third. And that makes up our pattern. If we're looking here, we can see that 1, 3, 5, the root note, the major third, and the fifth make up a major chord. Let's look at re, fa, la, fa, re. Re, fa is a minor third, so we've got our root. Our flat 3, re, fa, fa, la, fa, re. Fa to la is a major third, and it's also a perfect fifth. Re, la, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a perfect fifth, so we have a minor chord. In major, do, mi, so, mi, do. 1 is major. Fa, la, do, la, fa. What are you looking for, miss? Alyssa should have it. Sorry, let's go again. We've got do, mi, so, mi, do. 1 major. Fa, la, do, la, fa. 4 major. So, ti, re, ti, so. 5 major. Those are our major chords. Our minor chords are re, fa, la, fa, re. Mi, so, ti, so, mi. La, la, do, mi, do, la. There are minor chords. Our last one, which is really funky, is a ti, re, fa, re, ti. Our 7th chord, it's diminished. It's diminished because that's ti, ti, re, minor third, re, fa, minor third. 2 minor thirds create a diminished fifth at the top. That's why we call it a diminished interval. Let's add on 1 extra to the top of this with our 7th chords. 1 and 4 remain major because we have do, mi, so, ti. Do to ti is a major 7th. And also if we look at the fa chord, the 4th chord, fa, la, do, mi, fa, mi, major 7th. We've got the 1, 3, 5, 7 equaling a major 7th. Chords 2, 3, and 6 are minor 7ths. The dominant 7th is only found on the 5th degree without any scale alteration, without any alterations of notes, so F's or C's. Pardon me. So, ti, re, fa, fa, re, ti, so. The interesting about this one is it's got the major third, but also the minor 7th at the top. So, ti, major third, so, fa, a minor 7th, and that tension between So, Ti, Ti, and Fa both want to resolve to Fa, Mi, and Ti, Do. Once again, it's essential for you to know where the minor seconds are. Our last chord in the sevenths here is our diminished, and it's a 1, flat 3, flat 5, same as diminished triad, but it adds the flat 7 on the top, and it is Ti, Re, Fa, La, Fa, Re, Ti. Once again, it's a dominant chord because Ti to Do and Fa to Mi, La, Sol, Fa, Mi, Re, Do, Ti, Do. Everything resolves. The solfa really does a great job at pointing out where the notes need to go. Have a play through these, sing them all, play them all, different instruments, however you like to practice them, write them out, and let's move on. So now we're going to quickly look at the harmonic minor because it has a few more variations. I'm not going to do all of what I just did. I'm just going to really go through the different chords. So first of all, you need to write out your scale. I'm going to be on A, just for singing purposes. So we've got La, Ti, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Si, La, Si, Fa, Mi, Re, Do, Ti, La. Then we're going to stack it in thirds. The important thing is here, the minor seconds are in the same places. But La, Si has a minor second. Mi, Fa, minor second. Fa, Si is an augmented second. We'll go through that soon. So on our one chord, we have La, Do, Mi, Do, La. We have 1, flat 3 and 5, and flat 3 and 1. We also have that on the 4th scale degree. Our next chord is a major chord, and we have that only on, on the 5th and 6th and 7th scale, not the 7th, sorry, the 5th and 6th scale degrees. We have Mi, Si, Ti, Si, Mi, and Fa, La, Do, La, Fa. On these scale degrees, and they have a 1, 3, 5 pattern, starting from their root note. We have 2 diminished chords here, starting on Ti, Re, Fa, Re, Ti on the second, and also Si, Ti. Where is it? Si, Ti, Re. Sorry, I haven't done this on guitar. Si, Ti, Re, Ti, Si. That's our second diminished chord on the 7th. Our last chord, our triad, is an augmented triad starting on the 3rd. Do, Mi, Si, Do, Mi, Si. Give me a second. Okay. Do, Mi, Si, Mi, Do. It's quite tense. Once again, a dominant style chord on the 3rd degree. That's our triads. Once again, play through them. Make sure you have a look at the spaces between the root and the 3rd, the root and the 5th, the 3rd and the 5th, and this will all start to come together. I hope you're noticing by now that instead of memorizing all these different note names, and the solfa does all of the work for you. We only need to remember 8 different notes, C and So. Because Ti, Re, Fa is always a diminished chord. Si, Ti, Re is always diminished, no matter what key you're in. If we go into the 7th chords, we get the first one, a major minor 7th. Sorry, a minor major 7th. I'll fix up this in the text. It's a minor major 7th because we have a minor 3rd at the bottom. La, Do, Mi. And we have the major 7th at the top. Si, Do, Do, La. Our next chord, number 2, is a half diminished. Ti, Re, Fa, La, Fa, Re, Ti. Same chord we saw in major. Third chord is an augmented major 7th. Do, Mi, Si. So I've got something in my throat. Do, Mi, Si, Ti, Ti, Si, Mi, Do. Really tense chord. Rarely used, but it's good for you to know. We've got a minor 7th on the Re. Re, Fa, La, Do, La, Fa, Re. Then our 5th chord in harmonic minor is also a dominant 7th chord. It's got the 1, 3, flat 5, 7th. Do, Mi, this is not Do, Mi. Mi, Si, Ti, Re, Mi, Si, Ti. Once again, the mi, si, si wants to go to la, ti, re. Re resolves to do or re, di. If the song finishes on a minor chord, which major chord, which happens commonly. Once again, you can see that the minor seconds are the tension tones, these tones that are moving all over the place. Our last really funky chord is a 7th diminished chord, a full diminished, and it starts on C. C, T, Re, Fa, Re, Ti, Si, and T, C goes to La, and T goes to Do, Ti, Ti, Re, Do, Fa, Fa, Mi. So both the 5th and the 7th have that dominant function, and you can see that it's a semitones in the solfa that are resolving. Okay, so let's go through how you can practice this. Let's start with triads. Obviously, sing through the chords in each scale like we've done in class for a long time. Do, mi, so, mi, do, and major, re, fa, la, fa, re, mi, so, ti, so, mi. You get the idea. The next level is once you think you've got that start, play all the chords, but start all the chord structures from the same key. So we can start with do, mi, so, mi, do, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. We can do a suspended 4. Do, fa, so, fa, do. Suspended 2. Do, re, so, re, do. Augmented chord. Do, mi, si, mi, do. Minor chord. La, do, mi, do, la. And then a diminished chord, all starting from A or whichever root note suits your voice. So Ti, Re, Fa, Re, Ti. And singing them in the solfa, you can also sing the resolutions. So obviously, Do, Mi, So, Mi, Do doesn't have a resolution, but Do, Fa, So, Fa, Do has one. So you could go Do, Fa, So, Fa, Mi, Do, or Do, Re, So, Re, Mi, Do, and sing some resolutions. Probably the easiest one to sing the resolution for is Ti, Re, Fa. You could go Ti, Re, Fa, Mi, Ti, Do, Mi, So, Mi, Do, and go into a different key. You can also do all of this in letter names and all of this stuff. So our 7th chords are even more exciting because there's more of them. As I've said already, sing through the chords in each scale. Do, mi, so, ti, so, mi, do. Re, fa, la, do, la, fa, re. Mi, so, ti, de, ti, whatever it is, mi, fi. Sorry, my mind melted on the guitar. Sing them all in one key, like what the last 2 slides showed you. Sometimes you'll have to drop down an octave because the range is quite large, but if you choose the right key, you might be able to do it all in one octave, all in one range without dropping down. This is really good on instruments to do, and then sing them all starting from the same root note. So let's do this again. We've got Do, mi, so, ti, so, mi, do. 1 major, change the do to la. La, do, mi, so, mi, do, la, minor. So, ti, re, fa, dominant. So, ti, re, fa, fa, re, ti, so. Do a diminished, half diminished. Ti, re, fa, la, fa, re, ti. Do a fully diminished. Si, ti, re, fa, re, ti, si. And do a augmented major 7th. And do, mi, si, ti, si, mi, do. There's one here that I haven't put in. It could be a minor major 7th. So a la, do, mi, si, mi, do, la. I'll put that in later. And once you do that, you can sing with the resolutions. So obviously our so, ti, re, fa is resolved. So so, ti, re, fa, re, ti, so. We could go so, ti, do, fa, mi. Once again, ti goes up to do and fa goes down to mi. We could do our ti, re, fa, la. Ti, re, fa, la, fa, re, ti, do, fa, mi. Hope you're hearing this constant sound. Whichever note we're starting on, we get this Ti, Do, Fa, Mi. We can do the Si, Ti, Re, Fa. Si, Ti, Re, Fa, Re, Ti, Si, La, Ti, Do, Fa, Mi. So you can do all of these different resolutions. If you're stuck with how these chords are going, I'd advise you going back, singing through your seconds and your thirds. So, do, re, major second, re, mi, major second, mi, fa, major second, fa, so. And then, do, mi, re, fa, mi, so, with your interval names. Do it for your major and minor keys. These chords will really make sense and come easily if you know those thirds and how they look on instruments and on the staff. Good luck practicing and let me know if you have any thoughts. Okay, so let's have a quick talk through harmonic functions. I think as long as we are looking at the solfa and really the Ti and the Fa notes and how many notes change between two chords, we can figure this out easily. Chords generally have one of three functions. We have tonic chords, the 1, the 6, and the 3, and it feels at rest. Here's some chords in A minor. The 3 and the 6. Sorry, that's not the 6, there we go. They all kind of feel the same. They don't feel like they're going anywhere. The predominant chord adds a little bit of tension. If we go from 1 to 4, we feel like we've gone somewhere but not too far. 1 to 2, once again, gone somewhere not too far. And these, the 4 and the 2, share a lot of notes. You can see down the bottom we've got 4 is Fa, La, Do. The 2 chord is Re, Fa, La. There's only one note difference. And if you put Re, Fa, La, Do, it's both chords together to make a 7th chord. The dominant has lots of tension because of the tritone and because none of the notes are Do. We've got So, Ti, Re, Fa, Re, Ti, So, and So wants to go to Do because it's the dominant. Ti, and so Ti wants to go to Do, Re, Ti, Do, Re, Mi, and Fa, Mi. The notes in the solfa really point where you need to go. We've also got the diminished fifth between these two, the Ti and the Fa. Ti, Fa, diminished fifth, tritone, and it wants to resolve. Let's have a look at some examples. Oh, here's a chart that shows you tonic chords are 1, 3, or 6. Predominant chords can be 6, but normally it's 4 and 2. And dominant chords are 7 and 5. And it normally goes in this order: tonic, predominant, dominant, back to tonic. It's a little chord loop. Okay, so here's a little song from the Renaissance that we're going to look at. These last two, the last bar in each system. So this bar here and this bar here, because they outline some good harmonic progression. So let's look at the last bar first. It's a 5-1 perfect cadence. We're in the key of, yes, that's correct. We're in the key of F. So F equals Do. The dominant is C. And so if we have a look at this chord here, we have a So, then another C up above, So. Then we've got an E and a G. That's a So, Ti, Re, Ti, So. And then it goes to a Do, Mi, So, Mi, Do. We've got this 5 chord going to a, and it feels very final, it feels very complete. A 5-1, a perfect cadence. If we look at the first bar here, the first system here, we've got in this second beat, we've got F, C, and A. That's Do, Mi, So, Mi, Do, going to a So, Ti, Re, Ti, So, in this beat here, and it stops on that beat. So we hear the 1 chord stopping on the 5, and it feels incomplete, thus the name half cadence. These are all the ones that actually naturally appear in this song. There are some other ones that we'll look at now by changing the last bar. You see we now have some different notation down the bottom. We're still keeping our 5 at the bottom, our C, our E, and our G, but this time we're going to go to Sol, La, Do, Mi, Do, La. That will sound like this. Sol, La. It feels deceptive because we feel like the 5 should have gone to the 1, a tonic chord. It still goes to a tonic chord, but it goes to the 6, and it feels deceptive. You could also have another deceptive cadence of 5 going to 4. So, Fa. A different feeling, but normally it's the 5 going to the 6. Last cadence we have is our plagal cadence, and it's a 4 to the 1 instead of the 5 to the 1. Here we've got a B flat, Fa, La, Do, La, Fa, going to the Do, Mi, So, Mi, Do. And if you think about those notes, we've got Fa, La, Do, and only the La and the Fa are moving. Fa, Mi, La, So, and the Do stays the same. The plagal cadence, also known as the Amen cadence, has a much gentler feel than the other ones. And that is all there is to all of this harmonic functions. It's just about where chords generally want to go. Easiest way is to remember the Sol-Fa, that T and Fa want to resolve if they're both together, T and Fa, sometimes C, like SI, not C the letter name. Then it's dominant function. If it's Fa by itself, it's predominant. If it's Do, Mi, So, or Do and Mi, or Do and La, it's a tonic function. Okay, quickly to wrap up, we've looked at thirds. Thirds are mainly what we see in most popular classical and jazz and lots of different styles. Sometimes different composers like to experiment with different styles that don't include thirds. So sometimes they use fourths. That sounds like this. So sounds quite dissonant, not as nice as a stacked third. We can also look at fifths as chords. So we can go. Sounds nice, but doesn't sound as nice as or pleasant immediately as thirds because of the range. Some composers also use sevenths or secundal, second harmony. So that would be cluster chords. So we've got something like, let me just figure it out. And that can sound nice, but sometimes they're also very clumped together. And then sometimes composers use a mixture of thirds, quartal, quintal, secundal, and seventh harmony to display different moods. It's just worth knowing that when you're stacking things up on your staff to analyze it, that if they're moving all in fourths, there might be a reason and you might not be able to make it into thirds. Okay, the last one is tonality for the pitch idea. We can either have monotonal, so songs that are in one key at one time. This doesn't mean they don't change key. It means it just only sounds like one key feels like home at once. That's most music, 99% of music. We've got bitonal, where two keys are happening at the same time. Some late romantic and modern composers do that. And same with polytonal, two or more keys at the same time. Once again, I don't think this will be on the exam, but it's worth you understanding these terms. We've looked at atonal music. It's when there's no key center, no note feels like home because the composers use all the notes not at the same time, but one after another to kind of give us a sense of confusion.